It is no doubt Oklahoma State's coming off of its worst season in more or less my lifetime. And now we know the doctor, Alan Bowman, is leaving Stillwater, America, which means there's going to be a new quarterback in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And I think we have more than enough in this quarterback room to immediately compete for a Big 12 title.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on X at All Day State. Today, we're brought to you by Game Time Tickets. Download the Game Time app and get squared away with the best in the ticketing industry today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Get squared away with Game Time Tickets today. Meanwhile, we get squared away in the conversation of Cowboy football and, of course, the engine that produces more of the substance that you need to be successful is always going to start and end with the conversation at quarterback. Oklahoma State saw the emergence of Maealiuaki Smith towards the end of the season after Garret Rangel's injury, and Alan Bowman decided to take more of a headset approach. Now we have a healthy Zane Flores and a new quarterback to come in with the new coordinators, and that is the boss, Hauss Hejny in Stillwater, America. How does it feel, brother man, to be a Cowboy? Because this was almost a thing at one point in time. How does it feel to officially be here?
It feels great. I mean, everyone talks about things coming full circle, and this really is like a full circle moment for me. Oklahoma State was, a top 3 school for me out of high school. Didn't end up working out, but like I said earlier with the conversation with you, everything's happened for a reason. I'm where I'm supposed to be, so I'm super blessed and fortunate to finally be here with, a great quarterback coach, Coach Johns. I had a great relationship with out of high school, and then Coach Meacham, who I, kind of formed a great relationship with him when I was at TCU. So I'm overall super excited to, finally be back here.
Well, I can tell you Oklahoma State country is very excited about this ordeal. So we'll talk about the things that everybody's aware of, which is the speed. You do bring a certified 10 at 6'3", 100 meter to the field. Last season, you were clocked at 21.7 miles an hour, which you can't really replace if you're looking for speed. That is top-notch speed. But on top of that, people might get lost in the understanding that just because you had 2,500 yards rushing in high school, you also threw for over 5,000 yards. You had 87 touchdowns, and also don't forget you had 648 yards receiving as well. And you're seeing what Fowler, Nicolosi able to do at Colorado State, and you took that talent level. You learned from him. You played wide receiver. You showed your versatility. You've got the track speed. What is something else other than the speed that you think people are underestimating when it comes to Hauss Hejny as a quarterback on the football field?
I think I was really blessed to be able to play at a high school football program that I did. I learned a lot from the coaches that were coaching me in high school, and I just came from a rich culture of hard, tough nosed football and what that looks like, and that's competing the same on the first snap as the last snap, and that goes for day one of off season all the way till playing a state championship game. I think I bring a different mental just toughness to the game, and my job as quarterback is to lift up the competition for everybody on the team and hold people to a different standard than other people might not. So I think I'm just going to bring a new level of leadership and just competitive edge to this football program. And everybody talks about the speed and being able to just play the quarterback position when all that stuff is important and being able to pass the ball. But there's a lot of guys out there that can pass and run fast. But I think a big difference as you go up a level from high school to college to NFL is just that mental edge that you have to bring. So right now my main focus is learn that playbook as well as I can and learn defense as well as I can to use all those tools I can to the best of my ability. So I'm just a dogged competitor, and I'm going to do whatever I can to win football games at the end of the day.
Which leads me directly to the fact that obviously the focus comes in. You alluded to the fearlessness in which you play the game. If you go back and look at your film, you don't exactly play like a quarterback. You have this linebacker, running back style of mentality. And you absolutely have to have that. If you go back to looking at a Spencer Sanders or a Zach Robinson or a J.W. Walsh or a Clint Shelf, some of the mobile quarterbacks that have been at Oklahoma State, the trepidation with a mobile quarterback is you're always going to be susceptible to more injuries, right? That makes sense. But at the same time, that fearlessness, that dog that you have in you, is something that is able to make a separation from most other quarterbacks. But I also want to shift to the focused aspect. You just mentioned learning the playbook. I think most of us would assume there's going to be some similarities between what Meacham was doing at TCU. When you came to TCU, there's still sprinkles of that. Now there's going to be a new iteration of that, plus the old Cowboy offense that he was a part of. Because Doug Meacham was here back in the day when Mike Gundy started this thing in 2005. Ironically enough, it's like you mentioned earlier, the full circle moment. This is kind of a full circle moment for Doug Meacham as well. And you're focused. You've actually already been teaming up with some Cowboy wide receivers to get prepared. Who are some of the dudes that you've been out there throwing the pigskin around with?
Sam Jackson, he's a transfer from Auburn, the slot receiver, just a stud overall. Good dude.
You also played quarterback at TCU.
Also played quarterback at TCU.
Yeah.
And has a great relationship with Meacham. He's been awesome to do. His hands and his like catch radius is crazy. And then Jalen Lloyd, he's a blazing fast dude from Nebraska. He's a real dude. And then Shamar Rigby, he's transferred from Purdue. And then another stud who's already been on the team is Io. He's transferred from Snow College up in Utah, and then Talon Shetron, stud wide receiver. So I think people are going to be surprised by the amount of dudes that we have in the receiver room, and how deadly it can be, because it's going to make my job easier. And I think people are going to be surprised by the O-line that we have too. I think we got a lot of hungry dudes that are looking to just prove themselves because of how many starters have left, and people are going to be doubting us because we went 3-9 last year. So,
yep.
Talent only counts for so much, but I think just the amount of, just the want to just prove everybody wrong. We got everything we got in that building, and that's all we need. And, that's what we're going to work with, and that's what we're going to, compete with, and that's what we're going to trust because of the work that we're going to put in this offseason. So I'm super excited about the dudes we have in that locker room, and I'm just excited to keep building on it.
Well, there's something that has to be said about a completely clean slate, right? Mike Gundy did go against the grain and do something that he's never, ever done at Oklahoma State or any time in his career, and that is fire an exorbitant amount of people, because I do respect the fact that Mike Gundy understands that the landscape of college football is changing, and thankfully he's able to adapt and evolve with it. And now you have, again, that iteration of the new age offense kind of mixed with the old school Cowboy offense that Doug Meacham was able to implement under the guys like Todd Monken and Dana Holgorsen, and in kind of the heyday of Oklahoma State when we were kind of getting on that national perspective. And before we kind of shift gears here and talk a little bit more about Kevin Johns and Doug Meacham, the relationship going back to high school and that transitionary period now for them, before we do that, I got to ask, have you lined up with Jalen Lloyd and got a 40 in yet?
Not quite yet.
Come on,
Hauss. I think it's coming. I think it's coming soon. Right now, we've honestly the running load has been pretty light. We've kind of just been running like little 100-yard jogs and just getting our legs under us. But at some point, I'm gonna have to say, "Hey, Jalen, like we got to square this away." No, people are wondering.
That's right. Well, you know what? He was a 2022 high school national champion in long jump. He finished third in nationals in the 100 meters. So that'll be something you'll have to hit me up whenever that happens and just let me know. Okay.
Hopefully he's not a good starter. Hopefully he's a finisher on the 100. So if it's 40, I might be able to nose him out, but we'll see.
There we go. And you already know what it's like to be able to, as a quarterback, right? I think back to Tyreek Hill at Oklahoma State. And you look back to Jalen Lloyd's highlights at Nebraska, more often than not, it was just him blowing by everybody. And it's kind of crazy how You see, even in NFL, people can prepare for Tyreek Hill's speed, but it's a lot different when he's running by you physically in the game. Jalen Lloyd is going to be able to provide some of that for you. You mentioned some of the receivers. I've been singing the Shotomide-King praises till the cows come home and the heavens open up. So I'm excited to see what he's able to provide. And you hit it nail on the head with Talon Shetron. If Talon Shetron can just simply remain healthy, there was a reason he was a blue chip All-American coming out of high school that was recruited by everybody and their mom, because he is he's a quintessential piece that you need. And I'm sure you've done enough research to know that Oklahoma State's Z receiver position has been famous even back before Des Bryant was doing it, even back before Hartley Dykes was doing it. That 9 ball in the back of the end zone has been made famous in Stillwater, America. So having a Talon Shetron, having an Shotomide-King, you mentioned Shamar Rigby, who, much like yourself, was so talented as a freshman that they just had to find ways to get him on the field. And lastly, before we shift gears here, that is something that we are going to talk about here in segment 2, because TCU did have to find creative ways to get you on the field. That just was what it was. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. But before we do that, I do have to remind the fine folks out here that sometimes it doesn't have to just be football or sports related. You're going to have to get the best tickets for all of your local needs, whether it's music, comedy, theater, local events near you. Game Time Tickets is the best in the ticketing industry for you. Whenever you're trying to get sorted out and who's going to provide the most amount of access for tickets, and you're going to get it in the nick of time, it's always going to be Game Time. So you need to get squared away today with the best in the ticketing industry. Game Time has everything you need, whether it's the concerts, music, theater, comedy shows, whatever the case may be. They're here for you. It's never been easier than with the Game Time Picks. With the Game Time Picks, it's an app that's going to help you sift through all the crazy stuff, all the fluffy stuff. You're not going to have to work hard, because it's going to work hard for you. It's going to curate the best deals so you don't have to waste thousands of minutes and thousands of hours searching through thousands of unnecessary tickets. Game Time is a one-stop shop. And with the Game Time Picks, you're going to be able to have the best deals in the ticketing industry. With the super deal, you're going to get the prime seats and the best value available with the panoramic seat view from right in the stadium, so you know precisely where you're sitting. There's going to be no hanky-panky of getting put in the wrong section, even before you buy. The best part is you're covered with the lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal elsewhere, we're going to refund you back 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something does happen to come up. You need to be ready for your next big event. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use a code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but make sure you redeem that code, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. It's last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Okay, buddy. Now we're going to hop into that conversation. It was a nice little segue here. TCU had a very phenomenal season out of Josh Hoover, right? But still, throughout the course of the season, your versatility, your athleticism, your speed, your ability to change the numerical advantages that a defense has was very evident, which is why they had to find a way to get you on the field. And now we get that competitiveness, that passion, that dog mentality in Stillwater, America. We've got talented quarterbacks already, which is why I think this is going to set up to be the biggest quarterback battle in Oklahoma State recent memory history, or even from a historical perspective. We weren't really known for quarterback for a long time. I'm going to be 100% realistic with you, but all of the quarterbacks on this roster, Garret Rangel was a 247 and ESPN 4-star coming out of high school. Zane Flores was Mr. Nebraska, who still holds the all-time passing yards record in Nebraska high school history. Maealiuaki Smith broke several of the Tom Brady Juniper Sierra high school records in the state of California. We got to see a little bit of Rangel. We got to see a little bit of Maealiuaki Smith. We haven't got to see a lot of Zane Flores yet, because mostly it's been injury-related. What do you think that you can provide for this quarterback room that perhaps it might be missing a key ingredient of? Because the talent is undeniable. We have all of that. What do you think that you're going to be able to kind of bring to this quarterback room to just make it better in general?
I don't think I'm bringing anything different than any of these quarterbacks already have. I really haven't thought about it that deeply, to be honest. I'm focused on myself and what I got to do to put myself in the best position to, be the future quarterback of this team. And that's, day in, day out, just showing up and being the best version of myself. And that's, being focused every day and doing everything in my power to, learn the playbook as fast as possible, meet new people, just be a good person. The past year or two, I've really just been trying to, figure out what my purpose in this life is. And that's really just to use my God gifted abilities to, glorify him. And that's all I'm doing. He led me here for a reason and purpose. And that's to, again, do everything in my power to, glorify him with my gifts. So I really haven't thought about, what am I bringing to this quarterback room? I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm just a dogged competitor. Um,
Yep.
this football game is really simple if you play it with a simple mindset. And that's just to, compete your butt off every play and do it for your teammates and the coaches around you and do it for the people watching and supporting you. Because there's so many people out there that you wouldn't even realize that are just diehard OK State fans, diehard football fans that just want to watch and enjoy the game. And there's so many people out there that, would like to be in your position and you wouldn't even think about those people. And so I try to be in a selfless mindset and just, feel blessed to be in the position that I'm in because I am. And I just want to do everything in my power to, glorify God and, because I'm so blessed to be in this position. And I just want to do everything I can to help OK State win football games and, lead this team to a national championship and a Big 12 championship. And I think everything that I'm made of it's plenty to get that job done. So, that's all I got for that.
Dude, I think that's an absolutely incredible answer. Congratulations. I guarantee you there's going to be some people watching this that give a standing ovation at this very moment. That is a phenomenal answer. And how cool is it? You mentioned it, giving glory to God. I can't remember which quarterback it was. It may have been Riley Leonard, but it was either him or Will Howard. One of them discussed how it's not coincidental that the two quarterbacks that praised God throughout the course of the season the most happened to end up in the national championship game. Cade Klubnik is equally on that same playing field when it comes to giving the glorification to God. I think we need more of that in collegiate sports, all sports. But as it pertains to Kevin Johns and Doug Meacham, kind of walk us back through memory lane a little bit here. You originally did commit to Duke and Kevin Johns before TCU came calling. And TCU, you have I don't know how many family members that are TCU legacies. So that was an opportunity that you absolutely had to, find yourself taking, of course. But what was the Kevin Johns allure, and why were you so drawn to Duke and Kevin Johns originally?
So my high school recruiting kind of started pretty late because I didn't start playing quarterback till, my junior season. I didn't start starting till my junior season.
Yep.
And towards the end of my junior season, I started playing well, and Coach John just happened to, find me somewhere, happened to know about me, and he started texting me after the recruiting deadline or hold up stopped, and he was just a super genuine person who really just, didn't ask me a lot of questions about football. He just really genuine and a caring person who, went out of his way to text my parents and ask how their days were going, and asking how my brothers were and stuff like that. And then he came to 3 or 4 of my playoff practices towards the end of the season, and he was standing there behind me, videoing me, and then sending me coaching points after that practice, asking me about this, asking me about that. He was just super thorough with his recruiting process. And then
he cared about your development even if you didn't go to Duke.
He cared about my development if I wasn't going to Duke, and he just cared about me as a person as well. And that's what really stood out to me and my parents, and that's what my parents wanted. They wanted that to be my coach for my development as a person. As I go to college off by myself, he was going to be that father figure, and that's what I'm getting right now out of him. He just really, he's my motivation to be a better person when I'm around him. That's his biggest just positive. I can't think of any. He's a super, smart football mind and knows a lot about the game, and an incredible amount about the game. But just him as a person is it's off the charts. And he just, like I said, makes me want to be a better person every day. And so when they offered me, they were my only offer, my first offer, and nobody else was really recruiting me. And they wanted their quarterback committed by the end of January.
Okay.
And this was like January 12th. And I was like, shoot, I feel really good about Coach Johns and Coach Elko, who is the head coach there at Duke and A&M. Super successful dude and good person. So I just felt good about it. And then I committed. And then boom, right after that, like a week later, like all my dream schools, like Oklahoma State, TCU, they started reaching out to me, and I was like, oh gosh. So
that's about how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I took a step back and, told Coach Johns I appreciate the opportunity, but I think I'm gonna, take a step back and look at all these opportunities because I only get one chance to do this. So that's what I did, and ultimately ended up choosing TCU.
Well, and then obviously at your TCU stop, you were able to establish a pretty good relationship with Doug Meacham. Obviously, having guys like Jack Besh and the former Cowboy John Paul Richardson was helpful for your development. But seeing Doug Meacham interaction and knowing that he was an offensive coordinator at TCU and he did a lot at Oklahoma State, he's had several stops along the way. He's a very innovative mind. And the funnest fact of all is, Doug Meacham played offensive line and blocked for Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, and Mike Gundy, yeah?
Coach Gundy, yeah. Small world, yeah.
It is crazy. Again, we started with the full circle moment, and I feel like that's the majority of this conversation, because before I had any conversations with you, whenever we got Doug Meacham and we got Kevin Johns and then you entered in the portal, I was already telling people, I was like, Hauss Hejny's got to become a Cowboy. And everyone's like, why would you say that? And I was like, well, he obviously really liked Kevin Johns, and obviously he liked being at TCU, and Doug Meacham is a great offensive mind. So it just made the most amount of sense, even though now break down this recruiting process for us as it pertains to going from TCU to college, because it felt like you made your decision on Oklahoma State fairly quickly, even though you did have a lot of the top teams in the country pursuing you. How did that kind of shake out?
Are you talking about when I got in the portal and came here?
Yeah. Because it seemed pretty quick, but I noticed like you had a lot of schools reaching out to you, and Oklahoma State wasn't on the very first list. So I was just kind of curious how much of a whirlwind that was.
It might have seemed like a whirlwind on social media and stuff, but it was actually
everything does over there.
Yeah, it was actually pretty simple. I got in the portal for a reason, and I knew I wanted to. I had a good relationship with Coach Meacham at TCU, and when you think about like his past, offensive coordinator, like coaching history with Trevon Boykin at TCU, I was just super intrigued by what I could do in his offense. And when I saw Trevon Boykin do, is a similar skill set to me. He's a dual threat guy, running past the ball, just electric. It was entertaining to watch. There's nobody in the country who didn't like watching Trevon Boykin, and just his offensive mind. It was just so simple, but effective. And that's what Coach Meacham's offense is: simple but effective. And when you have players that can, just keep the game simple but it's effective, and you just let guys be athletes and be themselves, that's when things can be deadly. And I think that's what Meacham does a good job when he's giving his offense to his players. You just let players be themselves, and it's effective, obviously. So when he got the job here at OK State, I was like, well, shoot. And then he hired Coach Johns, and I was like, well, shoot. Like, and then just the fact that it was at OK State, it was just like a full circle deal. Like, this could be like a good spot for me, a good situation for me to walk into, and with a chance to actually compete for the quarterback position next year, because there's nobody on the roster that has experience yet, and nobody that's started a season yet. So I think I have a good chance of competing and winning the job, which that's why I came here. So I'm going to try and win the start quarterback job and win a bunch of games. So I got in the portal, and from that point on, Meacham reached out, Coach Johns reached out, Coach Gundy reached out, and I kind of knew where I was going at that point. But I looked at other options just to, like I said, out of high school, feel everything out, not just be like, this is what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, this was the best fit for me, and I feel really good about it.
Now, did you have a hand in Sam Jackson deciding he was going to become a Cowboy at all? Possibly, right? There could be.
Yeah, Meacham gave me like Jalen Lloyd's number, Shamar's number, and Sam's number. He was like, Hauss, we got to get these guys. These are dudes. We need some speedsters. We need some guys that can shake things up a little bit. So Sam actually texted me first. He's like, I heard you can tote that rock and sling that rock. And I was like, you're damn right. And I was like, we need to get you up here to Stillwater back with Coach Meacham, because Sam loves Coach Meacham. He loved him at TCU when he was playing quarterback.
Well, and you know, he seemed to not really be able to find his exact role at Auburn, right? He seemed to be kind of shuffling a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he was dealing with a shoulder injury while he was there, and I really don't know the details. I try not to just like talk about the past. You know, just excited to have him, because I mean he's a stud. I just can't wait for people to see him, and he's got such a good outlook on the game, and he's hungry to prove people wrong and prove himself right. So I just want to help set him up for success, because he deserves every bit of it.
I'll tell you what, Hauss, I don't know if you're looking to get into the media landscape, but when it comes to segues, that's a perfect segue, my guy. So you just mentioned how a lot of these guys are very hungry, and we talked a little bit earlier about how there's a clean slate. So everybody, whether you're a freshman, senior, transfer, redshirt freshman, everybody's competing for a starting role, because all of these coaches are brand new and they don't have any, preconceived notions on who should be, or, what seniors they have coming back. Now, of course, seniority is going to matter. It should play a factor, but by and large, it's going to come down to who is the absolute best to play the position. And I think this is all the way across the board. And if you look at Oklahoma State's transfer portal, we got tight ends, we got O linemen, we got D linemen, we got wide receivers, we got corners, we got safeties, we got linebackers. We got a kicker. We got a little bit of everything to completely kind of regalvanize the current roster to make a run. Now, the schedule just came out, and you have to be excited to see that we have 7 home games. So even after a very tumultuous season, if you're looking for reasons to get excited and reasons to buy season tickets, it's the restoration of order. I'm sure you've seen that restoring order going all over Stillwater for a while now. Secondarily is we do have the capability to be the face of the Big 12. I know Baylor and TCU and Iowa State are going to have a hand in that conversation as well, but historically speaking, the only team in the Big 12 that won more games in the Big 12 was OU, point blank period, right? So since Mike Gundy's been there, Oklahoma State has kind of been one of the potential flag bearers of this conference. Getting off of the worst season we've had since 1994, and you've had a lot of these workouts, and you've been in Stillwater for a little bit now. You've had conversations. You've got to do the strength and conditioning and meet Rob Glass and the whole 9 yards. What do you think from an outside perspective, right, to just tell Oklahoma State country, this is why this season is going to be different? Why is Oklahoma State going to get back to the top in this coming season?
Well, first off, it starts off with the top down. Coach Gundy, I mean, you said it, is the worst season Oklahoma State's had since 1994. I guarantee he's not happy going to bed at night, happy about what happened with that. So top down, he got a coaching staff of hungry coaches that he think can be effective.
He got a coaching staff of dogs, Hauss. You can say it.
Coaching staff of dogs, defensively and offensively. Coach Grantham, a lot of experience, NFL experience. I think he's going to call a great defense, and we brought in a lot of defensive players who I think can be dogs out there on the field. Coach Meacham, I mean, I hope people can get a chance to see what Coach Meacham's about. He's a dog. I mean, he's got swagger to him. So, and then from position coaches on, and then the guys they brought in out of the portal, a bunch of guys who maybe didn't have the chance at the other schools, or, just had a guy that was a little bit better than them in front of them. And, they're coming here looking for a new opportunity and a fresh start, and they're going to be working their tails off to, work against the other guys in the room. And like I said earlier, it just raises competition. When you have a bunch of new guys and new faces in the building, and nobody is yeah, I got this job locked. I've been here for 3 years. Like, there's just a couple of freshmen that are coming out of high school. Like, they haven't been in college for as long as I have. Like, I know the ropes. So I feel pretty good about my chances to start this year. But when you have new guys coming to the building every 6 months, basically, with the two portal openings, it's just competitiveness year round, and nobody's like, oh, I got this job locked. Everybody's constantly competing against each other. And nobody that's been here on the team, wants to go 3-9 again because it's a bad taste here, man. Nobody likes losing. No fans like seeing their team lose, and no players want to see your fans pissed off. I'm pissed off that even Oklahoma State had a season like this, but what it is it's just an opportunity to. It's just an opportunity. It's a great opportunity, especially for me to walk into and have a chance to bring Oklahoma State, back to where they need to be and where they have been, because it's just such a rich culture. Gundy's been here for however many years, and Coach Glass has been here for however many years. It's because they've been effective and they've done a hell of a job. That strength program is legit. People might say Coach Glass is old school. He is, but that crap works. Like, we've been doing Olympic lifts so far this off season, and I'm loving it. Like, it's a grind, and it's a good feeling when you're walking out of that weight room knowing you just busted your tail with all the other dudes on the team, and they looked you in your eyes, and like, you both know, like, we just worked our butts off, and this is going to pay off at the end of the day when September comes around.
Dude, one of my favorite Rob Glass stories is there's a linebacker at Oklahoma State right now that his workout partner for a couple of years was one of the Ferrari brothers, right? And so between AJ being at Oklahoma State, winning the national title, and then Angelo obviously being at Iowa, so they were doing wrestling workouts, Ferrari wrestling workouts, and then our linebacker got his first when he was a freshman. He got the Rob Glass workout, right? And he went down to Texas and he was like, hey, why don't we switch it up? Instead of doing the college wrestling workout, let's do this Rob Glass workout. And after it was over the next day, the wrestler said, I don't ever want to do that workout again. Let's go back to the wrestling workouts.
What? Okay, so me and my dad, my family was up this past week, and we went to the wrestling duel versus Missouri.
Yes.
My dad wrestled growing up, and he was like, Hauss, I'm telling you, wrestling workouts are a different animal compared to like football. He's like, it's twice as hard. And I'm like, are you serious? Like,
usually, yes. Yeah.
The crap that I go through, like, those dudes must be on their mental strength and fortitude must be completely different. But my dad was like, Hauss, in the off season, if you can figure out a way to like just do like one day of a wrestling off season workout, that would be sick. And I want to hear about it. So that's just funny that you're talking about the guys that have, tried a Glass workout and then tried the wrestling workout, which I would want to see how that workout is, but that's a funny story.
Yeah, dude, and to me that was just the galvanization moment, because Rob Glass, obviously, you mentioned it earlier, Gundy's been here 20 years now, just as a coach. He also played here. He was also a coordinator here, so he's pretty much spent 80% of his life in Stillwater, America. And Rob Glass has been here for like 23-ish years. I know Glass was here a year or two, if I recall correctly, before Gundy got the head coaching job. And whenever Rob Glass became the first $1 million strength coach in America, a lot of people were thinking that it was crazy. But then I hear stuff like that. I'm like, no, Rob Glass, you can have your money. You can do your thing. And it was 2 years ago, the average weight gain was like 17.8 pounds across the board in one offseason. It's incredible, man. So for somebody like you that already brings a lot of athleticism and speed and arm strength, this Rob Glass program, on top of the plethora of wide receivers you're going to have to be able to throw with, I'm sure that has you extremely excited, almost as excited as Oklahoma State country. This is the restoration of Cowboy football. We're so happy that you get to be a part of it, because at the end of the day, another big reason why I think that we should be pretty confident moving forward is because of that 105 roster limit spot, right? So we just got down to 105. Then we finished with a few more transfers. We've still got 16 high school guys yet to come in. So when it's all said and done, you're going to be going through spring with 120, 130 dudes. And then after spring, you're going to have to get back down to 105. So you talked about competition, right? Competition breeds excellence. Pressure makes diamonds. That is yet another reason why I think Oklahoma State is going to find itself back towards the top of the Big 12 where it's supposed to be. Whether we can win a Big 12 title, that'll remain to be seen. But I feel like we have the talent. I feel like we now have all of the coaching. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of guys that are hungry. We've got former 5-star blue chip Chindavian Bradley coming over from Tennessee because he wasn't big enough at Tennessee, according to them. So he goes JUCO route, becomes number one JUCO player in the country now as a Cowboy. You've got former 5-star top 50 J.K. Johnson and went from Ohio State to LSU, now Oklahoma State. Mordecai McDaniel was another blue chip. You've got a lot of guys like yourself. You were a 92, 247 overall, if I recall correctly, coming out of high school. J.K. Johnson was a 95 overall. Jadavian Bradley was in that same realm. You've got some certified dudes, dogs that are about to be a problem in Stillwater, America. So happy that you're a Cowboy. Thank you very much for jumping on the program here. And let the fine folks get a good look at you, because if I have established everything correctly, after this, you're going 0 dark 30, head down, grinding until we win a Big 12 title, Mo, yeah?
Indeed, yeah. I'm off all social media, and it's here to the facility, and that's about it. So life's pretty simple, but that's good. It's all going to pay off, I think, at the end of the day, and I'll appreciate the simplicity later on when, hopefully our team is holding the Big 12 trophy and everybody's happy, and that'll be a good feeling. So right now I'm locked in and ready to go.
Locked in. You meant to say locked on, but it's okay. We're gonna let it slide here. Yeah, baby. All right, Mr. Hauss Hejny, let the fine folks out here know. Obviously, you're going to be very busy and you're going to go through a little bit of a 0 dark 30. But what do you have as far as social media platforms for whenever you do get back into action? How can the Cowboy country see what Hauss Hejny has going on?
I'm on Instagram and Twitter. You can just type in my name, Hauss Hejny, and then Hauss Hejny on Twitter as well. TikTok, not really into that. I kind of doom scroll on there sometimes, but I'm off of that right now. But, I post my family. I post football pictures on there, and, repost my teammates when they post stuff and cool things. But, yeah, you can find me on there.
Hauss Hejny, the old school soul, coming to old school Stillwater, Oklahoma. Thank you very much for your time, brother, man. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. This is going to be an exciting season. It's going to be an exciting time, and I cannot wait to see what this whole thing looks like. This is new for Oklahoma State fans. We usually have a bunch of returning individuals. We usually have a bunch of returning coaches. This is all new, and with the new landscape of college football, I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. Can't wait to see what you're able to do. Shoot me a text whenever you and Lloyd get that thing squared away, brother.
I will. I'll make sure video it too. We got to have proof of this.
But there we go. All righty, Mr. Hauss Hejny. I call him the big boss Hauss, and I say that you don't have to be 6'4", right? Baker Mayfield's not tall. Drew Brees isn't tall. Spencer Sanders wasn't tall. You can do, and what's Braden Fowler? Isn't he like 6'2", 200?
He's probably like 6'2", yeah.
And aren't you like 6'1", 200?
I claim to be 5'11". I'm not quite 6 foot, but I'm 5'11". Okay. I'm pretty much 6 foot, but when I say 6 foot, they're like, "Oh, you're not 6 foot." So I just say, "No, I'm 5'11".
6 foot with cleats on. How about that?
I'm 6'1" with cleats on, but
okay, there we go. Got it.
5'11". I'm 5'11". I'm like, you look like 6 foot. I'm like, yeah, I might be. I don't know. But
dude, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll be seeing you here before too long. Until then, everybody out here in Cowboy country, say hi to the big boss, Hauss Hejny, and say goodbye also, because now he is going into 0 dark 30 as we prepare to get the Cowboys to a Big 12 title game. Hopefully, we're hoisting the trophy. Hopefully, I can see you in Arlington when we do so. I cannot wait for it. Mr. Hauss Hejny, thank you so much for your time, brother, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. For all of you fine folks out here, that's all we're going to have for this one. As always, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here in Locked On Oklahoma State. You could be anywhere. So happy you choose to be here. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the dislike button if you didn't. That's okay, too. I don't have feelings. Everybody out there in podcast country, you're the bricks, the bread, the butter. Do what you do. Hit the stars. Leave a review. All righty, y'all. Later, taters.